that whatever enters the mouth goes into the stomach and then out of the body. But the things that come out of the mouth come from the heart, and these make a man unclean. For out of the heart come evil thoughts, murder, adultery, sexual immorality, theft, false testimony, slander. These are what make a man unclean. But eating without washing hands does not make him unclean. And he's like, when you eat something, when you take something into you, and this is even things like things you listen to, things you hear, things you read, stuff like that.
That's right.
Taking something in is not what's going to make you unclean. Now, we should be wise in what we take in, like washing hands. It's a good idea to wash your hands before you eat, amen? We've learned there are diseases that are spread, and it's good to wash your hands. But that's not going to make you unclean. What makes you unclean is what's coming out of your heart. Now, if you're only filling yourself with junk, there's a good chance you're going to have junk come out. But it's what comes out that makes you unclean. So you start talking bad about others, you start backbiting, you start gossiping, you start coming up with plans to steal things, to destroy people, to take others' lives. You start flirting with people that aren't your spouse. You start, all these different things, all these words that are coming out of your mouth. That is what's making you unclean. And that is what's going to expose whether you are a plant that is producing fruit that God is going to keep in the kingdom, or whether you are a plant that is not producing fruit that God is going to take out of his kingdom. And you will know a person by their fruit. And one of the ways that you'll know them by their fruit is by the words that they speak. Oftentimes, you don't have to listen to a person speak very long to find out where they're at in their relationship with God, in their relationship with other people.
That's right.
Now, in some settings, in some situations, they may not just boldly go out and talk about their relationship with God, but you're not going to hear them complaining and arguing and backbiting and jealous things, and you're going to start to pick up pretty quick where they're at in their lives. And there are others that will confess that Jesus is their Lord, but you start listening to their conversation, and they're talking about things that are just evil, just wrong. And especially when they get away from the church setting, you can oftentimes hear where their heart is at and where their fruit is at. And as we talked about before, the parable of the wheat and the tares, and at the end of the age, God coming and sending the angels to pull out the wheat, or pull out the tares, the weeds from the wheat. And one of the things I wanted to clarify as I close is, I actually said as I close, I don't always say that. As I close is that the time period that we're in, because I haven't been real clear on this, I believe we are on a new day. I believe we are on the last day. I don't know how long the day will last, because with God, a day is as 1,000 years, 1,000 years is as a day. But I believe we're at the beginning of the day, the sun is shining, it's bright, and it's a glorious time for his people and the church. And it's a time where we can walk in light and glory and really see amazing, miraculous things. I believe it's a time of miracles and a time of great power of God in our day. I believe it's also a time where there's going to be a lot of death and destruction and various things as people are reaping what they have sown. And you sow to the flesh, you reap corruption, you reap death, you reap just all kinds of terrible things. And people are beginning to reap that as we are entering into the end of the age. So I'd say the age hasn't ended yet, but we're coming to the end of the age. It's that last day of the age. And how long it'll last, I don't know. Time is accelerated, so I don't believe it'll last real long, but it could be years, it could be decades. I don't know. But that's where I believe we're at. So it's the beginning of the end of the age, the last day of the age is I just wanted to clarify that.